We've had a day and a half of it here at the J. Davidson Stadium. Final score in the Skrill North semi-final, second leg, Altrinchams 2, Hednesford 1. Dramatic finish. And we're talking to Damian Reeves, who scored the all-important equaliser in the 84th minute. Damian, strange game, really. There was very, very little in it. It was a much tenser affair than Wednesday night, which was a fantastic game.
It was. I mean, Wednesday it was quite open and both teams wanted to go forward. I think you come into today's game, especially after the comments their manager made, saying that they didn't really turn up in their own game, and obviously they had a little look at us, so they knew how we were going to play. We played the same away from home as we have at home. The intention was always to go out and win the game, and to play football doing it. And I think obviously after the game Wednesday, they've looked at it, tightened it up a little bit, and tried to disrupt us the way that we play. And for 70, 80 minutes it worked. We were a little bit slower with the final ball, and I think when we got into the final third, the decision making was sometimes it wasn't great, and in the end it took them going 1-0 up before we actually got going, and then that's when we kicked on. But yeah, hopefully we don't have to go 1-0 down next week before we start playing.
Yeah, and fair play to Rob Smith. I think tactically he's done a very good job today. They've set up with like a 4-2-3-1 formation, which was quite difficult for us to play against. And they've had an incredible number of throw-ins, which Ben Bailey's just launched into the box. In the 2 games, he must have had 20 or 30 of those. But to be fair to our lads, we stood up very well.
Yeah, I mean, they are quite a direct side. They can play a little bit of football as well. I'm not saying that they can't, but they are set up to go direct whenever they can. They get the ball in the box. And the first 10-15 minutes we came out, we played the football, and then they sort of broke the game up and started taking the time with the set pieces and obviously trying to go forward. And one of the plans was to put the ball onto Stu and see how he coped with it. And to be fair, I thought he'd done well all game.
In the first half, one of the moments of contention was a potential penalty for us, where you've tumbled over a Hednesford defender's leg. We spoke to the Stockport manager, Alan Lord, at half-time. I had my doubts whether it was a penalty. He said he thought it was, but maybe you made a little bit too much of it.
It wasn't in the box, but it was a foul. It was right on the edge of the box, so one ref might have given it, the other ref maybe not. But he caught me. I think it didn't help the angle the ref was, because I've dragged it past the player, and obviously as I've gone past him, his leg's been stuck out, and I've gone into it. He did say that it looked like I'd run into him, so whatever the interpretation is of running into a player and not getting a free kick, I don't know. But at the end of the day, it wasn't in the box, because it was just outside.
There weren't too many chances in the first half, but Hednesford almost snatched a lead right in the final moments. Good corner from Tom Thorley. I think it was Dave McPherson who's got something on it. But did Stewart manage to save that, do you think?
To be honest, I haven't got a clue. I knew they'd put the ball onto him. It had bounced around a little bit, it came down, then it ended up, I think it hit the bar, came back down, and then it got scrambled away. But yeah, I mean, at some point in the game, the other team are going to have a little bit of pressure, and you've got to have your luck as well as playing well.
The second half was incredibly tense. I don't know what it felt like playing, but certainly you could feel the tension on the terraces. Eventually, Hednesford have got what probably most people thought was going to be the winning goal, and we didn't really close them down. Darren Campion and the substitute Robbie Thompson-Brown have basically played 2 or 3 passes between them, and then they've got a cross in, and Tom Thorley's there. He couldn't really miss.
He was wide open at the far post. I mean, I don't know how he's managed to get free, but the goal came from the right-hand side. They've gone forward. We haven't closed them down quick enough. They've played the ball around 2 or 3 of our players, and then they've got the ball into the box. He was unmarked when he played it, and then obviously he's nodded it in at the far post. And I think for the couple of minutes after that, it sort of flattened us a little bit, and the support then got behind us again, and that's when we sort of woke up. We started trying to play the football and be a little bit more penetration, and we started getting more ball into the box, and that's when the 2 goals came, and I think they came within 2 or 3 minutes of each other.
Yeah, they certainly did. We couldn't seem to get the ball for a few minutes after Hednesford had scored, but Nicky started the equaliser off, and it's a terrific cross from James Walshaw.
It was, like you say, we didn't really get the ball back off them. We was a little bit flat. It just needed somebody to sort of get hold of the ball, take it by the scruff of the neck, and do something take a player on or put a decent tackle in, and then everybody gets behind you again, and you sort of lifts yourselves. But for the first 5 minutes, we were a little bit flat, and then Nicky does a little bit of magic, takes a couple of players on. The ball ends up coming into the box, and to be fair, the ball was straight on my head, so all I had to do was just make sure it went in.
And it seemed a matter of a minute or two later, and after a game in which there's been very, very few good crosses, all of a sudden a third one has come in and it's resulted in another goal. Your header wasn't really a goal-scoring opportunity. Were you just trying to get it somewhere back onto the edge of the 6-yard box, or did you see Simon there?
No, I knew Simon was there, and the ball came across, and I thought if I get up early, I've got a chance of winning it without giving away a foul. Referees are quite they're quite funny when it comes to attacking headers in the box. If you touch the player goes over, they end up 9 times out of 10 they'll give a foul. So I thought my only real chance is to get up early, which I did, and the defender didn't actually try and jump, I don't think. And saw Simon coming in. He was unlucky himself that I think he slipped as he went to hit it, and it was just lucky that James Lawyer was coming in behind him, and it seemed for him to take an age for him to put it in the net.
And for not the tallest of players, you've got a pretty good spring in your step, and it was a well-timed jump.
It was. I mean, I win my fair share of headers. I mean, I'm not 6'6" or a Peter Crouch, and that's not my game really. But yeah, whenever I have to, I'll put it about and I will try and do that. But sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
And James Lawry, I think, has he hasn't played too much. He started the season in the first team, but then had a long spell where he was essentially on the bench. But he's been a regular in the last couple of months, and there's been quite a few games where he's made a big impact, and certainly played well today.
He has, and I think he's been a key player for us in the last month or so. I think he's been a little bit unfortunate that he found himself not playing. He always is a player that can unlock an opposition. He'll not have a great game, but he can do something magic.
But in terms of the actual team performance, we certainly didn't play anywhere near as well as we did on Wednesday night. But I've got to say, one player who I thought had a great game from start to finish was Jake Moult.
Yeah, again, he's had a little bit of criticism this season that he's played in a slightly different role where he's wanting to the manager's wanting him to direct things from the position that he's put him in, and he's been unlucky himself that he's been in and out the side. But again, he's another player. He can pick the ball up and he can hit a 90-yard diagonal and he can stick it on a pinhead. So he's been key. But I mean, you can go through the whole team and everybody's played a part. So I think you've just got to hope that at the right time everything comes together. And I think towards the end of the season, especially Wednesday and then again today, it has done. So we've got one more game left next Saturday, and hopefully we can just keep it going for another week.
And nearly 2,000 here today. It was a terrific atmosphere, bright sunny afternoon, and the fans stuck with us.
They did. We went 1-0 down. It went, like I say, it went a little flat for a couple of minutes, but then they got behind us. And I think that actually gave us a little bit of momentum when really there wasn't any. And we tried to play the ball in the final third and then penetrate them a little bit more than we have done for the rest of the game. And it paid off in the end.
Guiseley now next Saturday. They're certainly the informed team in the latter stages of the season. Had a terrific victory over North Ferriby, who they've beaten 4 times now this season. So that's going to be a very, very tough encounter. But we've got every chance being at home.
We have, and I think if you look at it, Guiseley are another football inside. They like to play football. And I think that will suit us as well because we like to get the ball down and play football. And at the end of the 90 minutes or however long it takes, you will just see that 2 teams playing football, and obviously the one that plays a better football on the day will win. The one that takes the chances, and I think if we get the crowd behind us again, because we've got home advantage, I can't see why we can't.
And Conference North playoff final, that's somewhere where you've been before. You've scored in the final against Hinckley back in 2007. Lee Sinnott was the manager when you were at Farsley. So hopefully you're looking for a big repeat of that next week. Yeah,
and I'd say to a few of the lads, I said last year and I've said again this year, it seems strange because every team that he manages, they always seem to go on a very good run. after Christmas. When we was at Farsley a few years ago, we actually went up through the playoffs, and we were sitting below mid-table, and then after Christmas we went on a ridiculous run, something similar to we did last year here, and we ended up winning the playoffs. So yeah, it seems to be a little trait that he's got going with his teams, that the second half of the season they seem to hit consistency and start playing well. So yeah, I mean, like I say, I've been there before, and I know what it's all about, and hopefully I can score again and we can win.
That's Damian Reeves there, scored the all-important equaliser in the 84th minute in this afternoon's 2-1 victory over Hednesford Town. 4-3 on aggregate to Altrinchams. And now we look forward to next Saturday, 10th of May, kick-off 3 p.m. Guiseley are in town for the Conference North playoff final. What a fantastic event that's going to be.